Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and today I'm not on a walk. I'm back in my studio. In fact, this is the studio that I use principally for the Vobes Show, which is a sister channel that I run on YouTube. Anyway, you may have seen recently I made a video where the lovely Julia and I went out into the countryside and we had a cup of tea. Well, I had coffee, actually. Julia had tea. And very nice it was too, with a little camping stove that I'd bought from one of the outdoor shops in the town. Well, it struck me, reading the comments that people were suggesting, that what I need was something to put all these gubbins in so that when I go on a walk, I could either take them with me or, better still, as somebody else suggested, that I could keep them in the car. Now, if I keep them in the car, they're just going to rattle around and get loose. So what I need is a box. And today I found one. This was a box I've had for years, but I love it because it's got the Union Jack on it. So I've shoved all the stuff that I think that I might need to keep together in the box, and I thought I'd share that with you, so I hope that's okay. Now, one of the things, obviously, are my walking boots, but I haven't put my walking boots in this box because, well, let's face it, they do get muddy, and sometimes I end up bringing them in the house, putting them by the Essie so that they keep nice and warm, and more importantly, dry out for the next walk, because here in Britain at the moment, in the south of England, we've had so much rain. It is a nightmare. So what have I got in the box? Let's have a look. Let's rip the lid off, chuck it on the floor for a moment and have a look inside. I've packed in, as I say, a number of things that I think are useful, but you might have some suggestions and I would love to know what they are. So leave them in the comments below and tell me what you think. One of the things that I've got in here is this map holder. It's a nice plastic thing. Actually, I've been so lucky because people have sent in some amazing things to me, and we'll see. This is a map holder. It goes around your neck like this, so as you go walking, you've got your hands free and you can refer to the map very easily and know where you are. So that is, number one, quite useful. It's in plastic so that when it rains, it doesn't get wet. Obviously, let's shove that to one side for a moment. Another thing that I've been sent by one of my lovely viewers is this. What the devil is it? It's called the X Pocket. Yes, it's a double pocket solution for being outside. You know when you're outside you want to carry something? Well, you can do that with this because there's a little pouch in it and it can either go round your shoulder like this or round your waist, as I prefer to use it. And you can shove stuff on the inside. But what if it starts to rain? Well, it also becomes a coat because you unzip, I've got to get the right side, you unzip this side like this and actually it pulls out and becomes instantly, he says, a coat. And with a little jiggery pokery, and if you undo the zip it helps, you can get into it. There you go. Wasn't too much of a hassle. Oh, wait. I'm getting wet. The other thing is it also, goes back into the pocket. So when the sun comes back out, you don't have to be in this raincoat. But it's very fetching and it's very warm and it's more importantly, it's very dry. Of course, you may just want to take an umbrella, and I've got a portable umbrella here, which I'm not going to open up inside because, well, that's bad luck, isn't it? But that's another thing I think is quite useful to have in the box. Obviously, if you're keeping it in the car, you can have a much bigger umbrella, etc., etc. So there's another little gadget here, which I've purchased. It's a tiny little thing. And I like this because you can actually attach it to the umbrella. It clips onto the umbrella. And when I'm filming, it clips onto a tripod. And you can keep the camera dry by clipping that onto the leg of the tripod. Another useful little gadget. Of course, I've got my my kettle, which was handy. my gas and my little stove, which we were demonstrating in the other video. If you haven't seen that, do check it out. I'll leave the link down in the description. The stove is great. It's a tiny little thing and it connects to the gas, and you can obviously put the kettle on it. But the thing about it is, somebody suggested, you know, you'll use more gas if it's a windy day, and what you need is something to stop the wind crossing against the gas. So I thought, oh, I know what we need. And I've made this out of cardboard with a bit of tin foil on it. So a strip of cardboard, bit of gaffer tape on the back. And what you would do is, there's the gas ring. You'd put this wherever the wind direction is coming from. And because it's got the tin foil on it, it won't catch fire. And you put it just enough far away and it'll protect the gas to keep the heat going straight into the kettle. So that's another useful thing to keep in the box. Of course, we've got Julia's favourite drink, which is the lemon, and in one of these I think is sugar, so that's handy. Not that I have sugar, but she does. So shove them over there. I've got my coffee, which I demonstrated, always useful to keep that by. Tea bags if you want them. We've got the cups, of course, that we had before. I got those recently at £2.50 from Millets, so that was well worth it. Double whatever they're called, so that it keeps the heat in on the inside of the cup but not on the outside. Very important, keep in your box your matches, so otherwise you'll never get the stove alight unless you're a smoker and you've got a lighter, of course. And useful to have a couple of biscuits or energy bars or oat bars or, you know, cereal bars, that sort of thing. They're the sort of thing. Important that you carry your water with you, so I've got some water as well. I've also thrown in this, which is a dishcloth, but this one just happens to have Worthing, where I live, on it, so that's quite nice. Of course, I could come out with a dishcloth with the Bald Explorer on, which would be nice. By the way, talking of that, if you want mugs with Bald Explorer on them, we now have them on the Bald Explorer website. If you go to www.baldexplorer.com, you'll see on the left-hand side there's now a shop, and you can buy not only t-shirts with Bald Explorer on, but your own personalised Bald Explorer mug. When I say personalised, I mean personalised to the Bald Explorer. The other thing that's always useful to have in the box in the car is a selection of maps. We use in the UK OS maps. They're the best ones so that you never get lost. So you can change those with that map folder that I showed you at the beginning, which is always very handy. And of course, now one of my other lovely viewers has sent me this rather remarkable book, which is British Wildlife, and it's superb. It's a Collins encyclopedic thing. It's got everything you could possibly want to look up. So if you're interested in trees or mammals or reptiles or fungi or anything, snails and slugs are in there, and all sorts of different insects, grasses, and I don't think there might be trees. I can't remember. There's lots of trees and flowers and everything. It's a compendium of knowledge, which is really great. So that's worth having in the box, even if you can't carry it with you, and you can take pictures and then have a look later on and see if you, in the car, whilst you're having your cup of tea. Perfect, isn't it? So if that doesn't keep you going, I've also got this very old, actually, it's a tiny little book here. It's called The Observer's Book of British Architecture. And it's useful because, sometimes you go into a church or you'll look at some buildings down the street, Georgian, Victorian, Tudor, Queen Anne, all sorts of things. You can look up the different columns, whether they're Ionic or what's the other one? Doric, Ionic, Corinthian, all those sort of things. Look at the porticles, look at the lancets of the windows. Useful to have these little books. Useful for me because I try to interpret what I see. And someone said, oh, Richard, you're a topographer. You describe what you see on the surface, which is true. So I think these are great additions to have with you when you're travelling about. But ladies and gentlemen, you are the masters. You obviously know more than I do because you make all the wonderful comments. I would be fascinated to know what you have in your possession that you take with you whenever you go out on a country walk or a visitation to perhaps a National Trust property or whatever. A camera, of course. I've always got my camera with me, which makes sense. I didn't mention that because I'm usually filming with my camera. But I can't, I'm at a loss now to think what else. So if you've got any suggestions, leave them in the comments. That would be absolutely fantastic. Don't forget to follow, like, subscribe. If you've enjoyed this rather mad video, then give me a thumbs up. That would be great. And subscribe, press the bell notification, leave a comment, said all that. And I'll see you out and about. Hopefully when this wretched rain that we're having in the UK at the moment goes away. Until then, take care and thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Suppose I've got to put all this stuff back in the box in a nice, useful manner. Hey-ho. Right, sugar, coffee, cups, one of them.